Welcome back. You're watching Innovative Game Changers presented by EY. The EY Lifetime Achievement Award 2013 was given to a passionate Indian with a global vision, Dr. Yusuf Hamied of Cipla. With 53 years invested at Cipla, Dr. Hamied's mantra has been, everyone must have access to essential medicines. He's delivered on his promise in India, Africa and beyond. Dr. Yusuf Hamied is also a committed philanthropist and recipient of the Padma Vibhushan.
When I joined the pharma industry, it was in its infancy. At that point in time, multinational companies were ruling India, etc. But we had learnt a lesson way back in 1939 from Mahatma Gandhi, when India was asked by the British to assist in the war effort, and the drugs had stopped coming to India from abroad. Because at that time we were only importing drugs. So what happened at the time was Gandhi came to Cipla and asked us to produce medicines for the war effort, which we did. And it was the first lesson that we learned of self-reliance and self-sufficiency.
It was Yusuf Hamied's strong will to get the then existing laws pertaining to the drug industry in India changed that proved helpful for the indigenous drug industry in India as a whole.
When I came back in 1960, as a very national-minded Indian, I found that all the doors were blocked for us because the multinationals were ruling India. India was following a patent bill left by the British in 1911. And I fought very hard with a group of like-minded Indians and had the law changed in 1972. That law gave the Indian drug industry, indigenous Indian drug industry, the legal right to produce any medicine we wanted.
Times were tough and the need of the hour was to produce drugs that would serve as game changers.
In 1960, the position in Cipla was very, very difficult. In 1960, our total sales at that time was about 50 lakhs of rupees a year. The only establishment we had was this place here. We had 700 workers. And when I looked at the portfolio of products that we were doing, every major product was blocked. Because again, on the patent laws, that the multis had a monopoly on all the drugs, chloramphenicol monopoly. The only window of opportunity I saw at that time was the sex hormones. And I personally took an interest in the manufacture of hormones in India, and we were the first company in India to manufacture hormones. Because even at that time, I felt that India's biggest problem would be family planning.
Taking up the challenge to produce drugs for chronic diseases, Cipla came up with AZT to combat the hazard of HIV.
By 1993, we made commercially AZT. We put it in the market in 93 in India at $2 a day against the international price of $12 a day. And lo and behold, we couldn't even sell one capsule. Because $2 a day meant $60 a month. Indians couldn't afford that at the time. One bright day in 1996-97, I read a medical article called HAART, H-A-A-R-T. And that article said that a cocktail of 3 HIV drugs could control HIV. And suddenly, I don't know why or how, my interest revived. And I told our R&D boys, let us try and make the cocktail.
It was at a big European Commission meeting on AIDS where Yusuf Hamied tried to get takers for the cocktail drug for HIV, but luck didn't favor him this time either.
At that European Union meeting in September 2000, Cipla offered the AIDS cocktail at $800. There were no takers. There were 3 things I offered that day. One was the AIDS cocktail at $800. 2, any developing country wanting to produce their own ARVs, that is the antiretrovirals, we would give the technology to them free. And 3, the drug that stops the transmission of AIDS mother to child, we would give free in the world. And lo and behold, no takers. 7th of February, front page of the New York Times had the article, Indian company offers the AIDS cocktail at below $1 a day. And that opened the floodgates.
Africa was one of the first countries where Cipla was an entrant with their AIDS cocktail.
The incidence of HIV/AIDS was maximum in Africa, and people were dying there, and the stories that came out of Africa were horrendous. But don't forget that when we offered the cocktail in September 2000, there were no takers. The problem was that even in Africa, there are patent laws.
The fact that the drugs produced by Cipla can save lives is the biggest motivation for Yusuf Hamied.
When we took the lead in India to produce the drugs for HIV/AIDS, and it was in the year 2001 when we announced a price for the AIDS cocktail of below $1 a day, and at that time the international pricing was $12,000, and we offered it at virtually $300. And that was a very breakthrough in the concept that the world, and particularly the third world, required affordable drugs. At that time, 2001, only 2,000 to 4,000 people in Africa could afford treatment. Today, 9 million are being treated. And that gives me individually a great deal of satisfaction.
It was the changing of laws in 1972 that gave Cipla an opportunity to produce newer drugs.
When the laws changed in 72 and we therefore got an opportunity to produce the newer drugs, we had within Cipla the infrastructure to produce the newer drugs. And this is something that we did successfully. That is, in my span of the years, say 70 to 90, we must have produced at least 20 or 30 drugs for the first time in India, which were well-known drugs abroad.
Talking about the future, Yusuf Hamied expresses concern, especially with regards to the existing patent laws.
The challenge is going forward that by 2015, if the laws don't change, it will be a disaster. That is, all the newer products will be out of reach to people like you and me. Already it has started in products that are covered under patent. You can look at some of the anti-cancer drugs. I'll give you one or two examples if you want. There are cancer drugs today from the multinationals at 2,85,000 for 120 tablets per month. And we are selling it at 6,500 or 8,000 per month. So there's going to be a disaster. These few examples where we are selling are the ones where we have taken them on in court of law and won our cases against them. Like Tarceva of Roche, we won our patent case against them. Patent got revoked. Gleevec patent got revoked. Who fought that case? Cipla did for 7 years. More and more companies are looking outside of India to expand their businesses, which is in a way sad, because I think with 1.65 billion population due in 2050, we have an obligation to our country. But obligation is to produce the latest medicines at affordable prices to the layman. Or you have a system of tiered pricing. That if you can afford this drug at 100 rupees and he can't afford it at 10 rupees, you pay 100, let him pay 10. So, but that's a very difficult system. I am a firm believer that the only way to reduce prices in general, is by competition.
Even though the start looked difficult, today the market position that Cipla has attained is something that Yusuf Hamied is extremely proud of.
Today, our local business is 45% and export is 55%. That today as a company, we're approaching, this year I think we will exceed in export 5,500 crores. We are among the world's largest producers of products for respiratory disease. We're producing over 5 million inhalers per month for not only India, overseas. Then we are among the leading suppliers of anti-AIDS drugs to Africa. We are among the leading suppliers of anti-malarial drugs to Africa and drugs for neglected diseases. The origins of Cipla, today, I'll tell you, when we started, this was our only setup. We have been a public limited company since 1925. Today we have over 30 manufacturing units all over the country. We're employing 20,000 people today. So 20,000 families are being supported by us in India alone, let alone what we're doing outside India. We have now a factory in Uganda. We have a factory in South Africa. We have a presence in South Africa, which is ours, Uganda, Yemen, etc., etc. We're expanding offices in various countries of the world. And I would say that we are more global now than ever before.
We sincerely hope that the innovative game changers presented by EY has inspired you to dream big, act on your dreams, and in turn inspire countless others. Thank you for taking this 4-week journey with us. But it's finally a wrap on Innovative Game Changers presented by EY. Thanks very much for watching.